Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Late Night Learning. I am your host, Dr. Anthony Palomba. Today, we're going to be going through the literature review assignment here. Now, a few words about the literature review assignment. In this assignment, you are meant to figure out your own research study. That's the goal here, that you're going to be putting together a research proposal, not executing it, but research proposal, and thinking about what theories and variables and things that you want to bring together in order to execute this assignment. And so you want to think about what you're curious to know. I think that's the first step that's really crucial here in an assignment like this. What do you want to know? Do you want to know if advertisements work more effectively on Snapchat than Twitter? Do you want to know if games, advertising video games, are more effective than traditional commercials? Do you want to know if race, gender, and income impact the kind of TV genres that people watch? These are some ideas that you may want to consider as you are moving along in your own formulation of your own study. If you are having issues conceptualizing something, please write me. But the goal here is to make sure that you can think like a researcher. And that's why I'm pushing this on you, to make you think like a researcher. You should be able to put together an introduction, a lit review, method, data collection procedure, and anticipated results. And so in this video, I'm going to carefully go through each direction. And so I encourage you to watch this video again if you need to, or pause, rewind, whatever you need to. But the goal here is to make sure that you feel confident and comfortable executing a literature review. And as always, you have a scale and a demo from me to help you along. Let's look at the document. And so the literature review itself, you are being asked to create your own literature review. I'm looking for 4.5 to 7.5 pages here, based on your own topic and area of interest. Again, I'm looking for 12-point font. Please be sure to double space your assignment, and I am also looking for default margins here. Introduction should be about a page here. And again, it's very similar to the journal article review insofar as looking for a study or creating a study that has something to do with television, radio, film, video games, social media, newspaper, magazine, journalism, advertising, public relations, anything like that, anything related to those topics of interest, I'm all in on. If you want to look at corporate social responsibility as part of your study, do it. Give me an idea. Give me a study that is investigating some sort of angle of corporate social responsibility. You want to be able to think about conducting research in this area. You want to make an argument for why a particular topic should be studied here. Your first paragraph should introduce the subject, and your second paragraph should introduce the academic gap in the literature. Rather than searching for an article that's already been done, you really want to demonstrate why your study is different and unique. Your third paragraph should discuss the significance of the study and what you will be contributing to industry and to academia. Remember, we've gone through an academic article, and the key is to read abstracts of studies to see if they are relevant to your study. I am looking for at least 8 academic articles cited in your paper. Now, before we have heart attacks and panic, I cannot emphasize enough that you need to read academic abstracts. You can read abstracts, you can skim academic articles, and then cite them accordingly. You should be able to go through an academic abstract at this point and figure out if you can cite the study in your article. I am okay with that. I recommend that you read a few academic articles. If you can read 8, great. But if you are pressed for time, read abstracts and cite them. I do need at least 8 original academic articles that are published and peer-reviewed, cited in your paper. Okay. The first page, theory and approach. You want to think about theories here. Theories that you come up with that you can apply. Now, these are theories that should be recognized too, not something that you're making up. You can apply affective disposition theory, uses and gratifications, social identity theory, parasocial relationships. There are so many different theories that we have gone over in class that you can pull from. If you're not sure of what theories to pull from, rewatch my lectures on theory. You will come up, I am sure, with a theory that you would like to use in your own study. Okay. For the literature review itself, you have at least 2 to 4 pages here in which you should be constructing the actual literature review. You want to think about 3 variables for your literature review. You should have at least 1 dependent variable and 2 independent variables here. Remember, a variable is a measurement that is used, such as gender, brand loyalty, intent to view, intent to purchase. And so these are measurements, right? A variable is a measurement in a study. What are you measuring for? What are you trying to track in your study to better understand the phenomenon that's under investigation for you? For each variable, for each independent variable, the first paragraph should introduce the variable and discuss the findings of related studies using the variable. For the second paragraph, for each independent variable, there should be a discussion linking it to the dependent variable and essentially boiling it down to the research question or hypothesis. And so what you should do, for instance, in your literature review, is for each independent variable, the first paragraph should discuss the variable, the second paragraph should connect it back to the dependent variable, and then there should be a research question or hypothesis under it. Okay, so that's for the independent variables. The dependent variable should be explained first. And so in the literature review, you should introduce the dependent variable first. That will make things clearer for you. It'll make things clearer for me as a grader, and it'll help you as you move along in your work. It's good to introduce the dependent variable first, because after, when you introduce each independent variable, you will be able to link it back to the dependent variable that has already been introduced. For instance, brand loyalty toward TV shows may be my dependent variable. I will talk about that first. After the dependent variable, I will next talk about income of audience members. I will introduce income in the first paragraph of the income section. I might talk about other TV studies that have used income. And then in the second paragraph, in the income section, I will link income to brand loyalty toward TV shows. And then right below that paragraph, I will offer a research question or hypothesis related to the discussion itself. If you have any issue with this, please let me know. But that is the way in which to kind of tackle this along. For the literature review, please introduce the dependent variable first, then the independent variable, then the next independent variable. Okay. You should have a minimum of 3 research questions and or hypotheses. And so you can have 1 research question and 2 hypotheses. You can have 2 research questions and 1 hypothesis. We're only looking for 3 here. Terrific. Data collection, research design, and anticipated results. Let's see what we have on the next page here. For data collection and anticipated results, you want to be sure that you're discussing your plan on how to collect data for your research study. Does it make sense? Is it logical? What is your sampling frame? Are you going after teenagers? Are you going after African American women? Are you interested in Asian American men? Are you interested in hardcore video game players? Are you interested in casual TV viewing audience members? Please tell me who your sampling frame is. Additionally, discuss your anticipated findings. While you may not be able to execute this research study, and you will not be here, you should be able to anticipate some results based on the literature review that you have crafted together. You'll see the scale here. It's the same thing, very similar to what we did earlier with the journal article review. Critical analysis, grammar and spelling, introduction, theory, variables, linking variables. Please note, linking variables is important. You need to link each independent variable with your dependent variable. What I mean by that is that you need to connect. What is the connection between income and brand loyalty toward TV shows, as I was talking about earlier? Is it the more income someone earns, the more likely they are to have brand loyalty toward a TV show? Probably not. It's kind of a strange relationship, but maybe so. I don't know. I'd have to do my research. And so that's the way that you want to think about that as you're moving along here. Am I linking my independent and dependent variables together? Research questions and hypotheses, do they make sense? Remember, your research questions and hypotheses should include the variables that you are discussing. You can't just ask a question. You want to make sure that the independent and dependent variable are in each research question, are in each hypothesis here. Data collection design and anticipated results, that is also marked here as well. Let's go to the demo. As you can see here, I have a demo for you. You can see in the introductory paragraph, I introduce the topic in the first paragraph. I am introducing the topic in the first paragraph here. As consumers interact and engage video game consoles, which may be defined as stationary video game devices that rely on a connection to the television screen, they may cultivate a relationship with them and realize certain brand personality traits from them, etc., etc., etc. The second paragraph here demonstrates the gap in the academic literature. Previous studies have not explored aggregate video game console brand personality perceptions, etc., etc. And then the third paragraph here, the seventh generation of video game consoles includes Nintendo Wii's, Microsoft's Xbox 360, and Sony's PlayStation 3. As I move along here, I make a claim and I assert why the study is relevant here. Let's move along. And as you can see here, this study will advance the academic literature on video game brand marketing, etc., etc. If we look at the literature review, I began with industry statistics. It's a really nice thing to do. You don't have to do it, but because I'm a media management scholar, it's really, really relevant to pull in industry statistics to kind of couch what's going to be talked about. And yes, as you've noticed, this is before the brand relationship theory that was offered here. And so this is offered just before the theoretical conversation that I'm having here. And you can see that italicized with brand relationship theory. Let's move along. Brand loyalty here is the dependent variable, so you can see that it is discussed first. And then you can see here perceptions of video game console brand personalities. And so what I'm looking at here is video game console brand personalities. Is the Xbox 360 conservative? Is it liberal? Is it cute? Is it funny? Is it rugged? Those are brand personality traits. And so what I'm trying to see and investigate here is how consumers perceive brand personality traits behind these consoles, and does it lead toward brand loyalty toward these video game consoles? Okay. So brand loyalty in this study is a dependent variable. Another dependent variable in this study concerns perceptions of video game console brand personalities. And so perceptions of video game console brand personalities is another dependent variable here. If we move along, you can see here that for H1, which is hypothesis 1, I am treating aggregate seventh generation video game console brand personality perceptions as an independent variable. And I am saying it will have a positive impact on brand loyalty toward the video game console, seventh generation video game consoles. Again, for hypothesis 1, which is H1, aggregate or total seventh generation, all of the consoles, Wii, Xbox 360, and PS3, video game console brand personality perceptions will positively impact consumer brand loyalty toward aggregate seventh generation video game consoles. And so that is one hypothesis that I've offered here. And if you look and go back to the perceptions of video game consoles, you can see here that the first paragraph introduces video game console brand personalities. And then if you go back to the second paragraph, if you go ahead, you can see that at the end, I connect brand personality traits with loyalty. That's essentially what you want to do here. Now, I've written quite a bit here. This is a publication, and so this is what was offered in what has been offered to you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you can see what I did with gender as another variable here. The first paragraph, I'm talking about gender. How does gender figure into a video game study? What have other studies found on gender? That's the first paragraph here. The second paragraph is how I connect gender to the dependent variable. In this case, I'm using the brand personality variable that I just used earlier as the dependent variable. So then I offer a research question at the bottom here. Again, if you have any questions, if I'm not explaining this clearly enough, simply email me. It is not a big deal at all. Let's move along here. So after you've had your discussion in the lit review, you want to talk about your data collection procedure. Now here I talk about what I actually did, and for your own data collection procedure, you can certainly do the same. You can essentially pretend that you've carried out this study, or you can talk about what you would do in this study. I would put out an online survey and I would send it to a group of college students, or you can structure this based around what I've done here. And you can say an online survey was pre-tested and then sent out to a convenient sample of students. You can do it either way. It does not matter to me. The point of data collection is, can you wrap your head around carrying out a survey, a focus group, an experiment? What would you do? How would you do it? Anticipated results. For each research question or hypothesis, this is very important. A lot of people make mistakes here. You want to give me a paragraph, 3 to 4 sentences per paragraph, just as for the others, surrounding anticipated data results. Give me a paragraph on what you think your hypothesis will bear out. Give me a paragraph surrounding what you think your research question will bear out. It's important to separate these carefully so that it is clear and concise for your audience here. And then at the bottom, you want to make sure that you have references. As you go on to the next page, you can see all of the references there, which should be in APA format. And so that is the conclusion of the literature review assignment. If you have any issues, please let me know. I think the best thing to do here, as I've said earlier, is have my demo out or print it out. And that way you can have my demo printed out, and then you can have your own Microsoft Word document, and then you can have the articles on the other side of your screen. So that's one way to do it. I think if you follow my template carefully and you try to do the best that you can, you will have great success with this. Most students falter when they don't include independent and dependent variables in the hypotheses or research questions. A lot of students mess up the anticipated results section as well. And so you just want to make sure you have a paragraph per research question or a hypothesis talking about what you think will happen. Again, you are not carrying this out, but you are smart. You're all very intelligent people. You're college students after all. You should be able to anticipate results. What do you think will happen? And that's what I'm curious about here. If you have any issues, if you have any questions, I am only an email away. That's all the time we have on Late Night Learning. As always, keep laughing and keep learning.